Nostalgia. It's delicate, but potent. In Greek, nostalgia literally means the pain from an old wound. It's a twinge in your heart far more powerful than memory alone. This device isn't a spaceship, it's a time machine. It goes backwards and forwards. It takes us to a place where we ache to go again. It's not called the wheel, it's called the carousel. And it lets us travel the way a child travels, around and back home again, to a place where we know we are loved. As you can probably tell by now, this isn't the typical Ricoh GR video. This is a video about the camera that made me a better dad photographer. I bought the Ricoh GR III when it first came out way back in 2019 when I was recovering from a pretty serious hand injury, and then I sold it in 2024, and over the past 6 months I've regretted not having it with me. So I bought it again in 2025 after I saw the Ricoh GR IV announcement. I'll get to why I did that. In short, it's not the best camera or have the newest specs. It's because the GR III was with me when I held my daughter for the first time. That photo? It's one of my favorites. I was wearing the Omega Speedmaster Professional that day, a watch I bought earlier when my son was born, a birth year watch. Now, I'm beginning to really like video, don't get me wrong, but to me, there's something about a photo, a still. A video tells you what happened, a photo, your mind fills in the blanks. And what I remember in a photo today may not be what someone else remembers, even if they were there too. And that's what I'm looking for when it comes to this form of memory making. And I'm not here to shame anyone who uses their phone. I do too. It's convenient and IQ is just great nowadays. The premise for this video is that I think young parents should consider having a dedicated dad cam or mom cam or fam cam. And it doesn't matter what the camera is. But for me, there's something unique about the Ricoh GR III. I tried the Fuji X100V, a few of the Sony RX100 series. I had the Fuji X70 too, and I loved it. But for me, this is the camera that was there for 6 of the 9 years I've been a parent so far. And like that Speedmaster that I purposely wore that first day of my daughter's birth, it had become more than just a camera to me. It's become a memory in it of itself. I even tried the GR3X, the 40mm variant. Great camera, but it wasn't what I was looking for. To me, the 28mm is perfect for young families. You're up close, physically closer to your kids, partly because you have to be, and that focal length lets you just stay there. Filling a 28mm frame brought this whimsical charm to the photos of my young kids, and it's wide enough that you can get a good idea of the story around the photo if you can move back a few steps. And if there's one thing that you might want to take from this video, it's to enjoy being with your family. Enjoy your partner, enjoy your kids, and the 28mm, especially when your kids are younger, allowed me to be close to them. Set a snap at 1 meter, then just kind of pull it out every now and then and shoot them in action, and then put it away and get back to life. And that way I'm a participant and not just an observer to my own life. Now the fact that it's so small but still has an APS-C lens makes it so flexible for the type of situations that I come across as a dad of young kids. The pocketability makes it something that I had on me almost all the time, even if it's just in my front pocket, ready to pull out and shoot at any given moment. I couldn't do that with most of my other dedicated cameras. And the controls and dials on this camera, including the memory recall, just gave me so much flexibility and speed in operating and getting that shot. And that speed of control is something I can't get on my iPhone at all. And the APS-C lens basically just gave the image so much more ability to capture low light photos compared to most cameras of the same size, and so much more flexibility in pushing the image. Now to be very, very clear, I'm not a pro, I'm a dad with a camera, and the Ricoh made me a better photographer. But to get the most of it, you really have to learn it. You have to learn how to overcome its flaws and limitations. And one thing I try to teach my kids is that if it's hard, it's worth doing. And I think that applies here too. You overcome slow autofocus with manual or snap focus. You stop just pointing and you start anticipating. You learn that bokeh isn't strong. So if you're going for some depth of field, you learn to use foreground and background for framing. You learn how to see how to play with the light in a different way than street, because you can't always wait for your 2-year-old to enter the frame in a predictable way. You have only a few subjects and they're often running away from you. You get a feel for the moment, and when you capture that moment, the more it felt that the click meant that I had earned that photo. Now, a good dad, mom, or fam cam lasts. It becomes part of your life, not because it has the most megapixels or the biggest sensor, but because it's there, year after year, memory after memory. And even after I upgraded the phone, that Ricoh is a memory-making time machine, day in and day out for 6 years. Now, the GR4 has been announced, and yes, it does look great. But if it had a flash or a viewfinder, maybe it would have been something I would have wanted. For someone like me, not a pro, the GR3 already did everything I needed. My alternative is not a Leica. It's an iPhone. The GR3 gives me more joy than an iPhone. It's helped me care about taking the shot. It's helped me care about intention. And that, I think, made my brain also add more context to the shot for my recall in the future. Of course, when I look at the Ricoh GR4, there's a couple things that stand out. They're slightly higher megapixels. I already use the camera in crop mode sometimes, which reduces pixels, and the megapixel bump is not meaningful enough to make a difference to me. There are 6 versus 7 elements, but when I look at the analysis from others and what that means, it probably means the photos are a bit sharper. I don't think it matters to my style of photography. I'm not selling. This is a dad cam, and I'm showing these photos to my family, my friends, I guess some of you guys. But the consumer is me, my wife, my parents, and they're not going to even notice. There's 3 to 5 axis sensor shift. I do like the 3 axis sensor shift on the GR3. I think that's a huge jump over the GR2 and other cameras like the X70 and the XF10, particularly in low light situations. But if your subject is moving a lot, like young kids moving from 3 to 5, probably isn't going to be really that useful to this particular use case. You've got double the ISO, sure, but I already very rarely shoot that high on this existing camera. And for video, you know what, just use your iPhone, or in my case, sometimes the DJI Pocket 3. With all the stuff going on in the world, I feel like there's going to be a not insignificant increase in price from the GR3 to GR4. And I'm purely speculating based on macroeconomic factors and not anything specific to Ricoh, the GR, the production of it, or anything else, but the likely increase in cost that I am anticipating, and the ability to capture things in the intervening time between now, so June 2025, and fall 2025 has value to me as well. And as I mentioned earlier, I sold my GR3 in fall last year. Part of me thought the GR4 was going to be coming soon. Part of me thought that the iPhone 16 Pro that I just upgraded to was enough, with features that help me get better tone in photos. And it does take good photos. But when I go back to look at my photos in the Photos app, it's the Ricoh photos that hold that place in my heart. My kids are growing up fast. It's painful to watch. When I look at these photos, I already feel the pain of that old wound. So I went and got the diary edition now. I like the look of it, and hopefully it'll last me another 6 years or so, and then I'll upgrade to the GR4. And I'll have to reconfigure this camera to recreate my old settings, which I feel like I had perfected to be a dad cam. Now, if you're interested, please comment below and let me know, and I'll put that video together. Or if you're using the camera similar to me as a dad or mom or fam cam, comment below and let me and others know how you are liking it for that purpose. Subscribe as well if you're interested in more videos about this use case. This is one of my early favorites. My son and I were just in the living room and he was just doing his thing playing with his new train set. And I noticed how he kept getting really close to the trains as they zipped around the track. And I think he was trying to imagine what it would be like to be on that train. I thought the Ricoh really captured his expression of wonder and play, and it forever froze that split second of time where he was just a 2-year-old train conductor. This next photo is of my brother-in-law, Jimmy. He was acting in a play for a stage troupe, and the venue was very small, probably no more than the average school classroom. I was really proud of him for his accomplishment in acting in this play. I love the expression on his face in this scene. I was sitting in the second row, and the room was theater lit dark with stage lighting. From my vantage point, I just pointed and shot from my seat. I think the 3-axis stabilization and the APS-C sensor really helped out in this dark scene. I don't think my iPhone would have been able to freeze time like this, nor would I want to bring a bulkier mirrorless camera into this venue. But the GR3 came through in this moment. So this photo here is of our Yorkshire Terrier, Bear. He's 14 years old now, but he still kind of looks like this. What draws me to this photo is Bear's expression and the smile in this photo. The sharp tongue kind of curling into its own little happy smile. Bear was my first subject before I had kids, and he still carries out this job for me. And I was just sitting on the bench with him, watching the kids at the playground, and when I turned, I saw him kind of just enjoying the sunshine. Okay, so this might be a standard vacation photo to many of you, just kids and shaved ice, and I think that's by and large kind of indicative of what this camera is capable of. What's funny is that I think at this moment of time in my life, I carried the GR3 and the Fuji X-T3 and I had taken it to Hawaii. And I never really took the X-T3 out for the most part. It was big, bulky, and the GR3 just got the job done. I probably could have managed the foreground a bit better in this photo, but the focus was ultimately where I wanted to be, so I'm happy with this shot. And again, to accentuate that perfection isn't as important to me for kind of this family documentary as much as just getting the moment. So for this photo I'm sharing for a particular purpose. It was taken by our waitress at the restaurant while my pregnant wife and I were on our last photo before our daughter was born. I had handed the Ricoh off to a waitress who took the photo. First thing she said after she took the photo was that she was surprised at how good and clean the photo was. I think she was used to little point and shoots with small sensors or camera phones, and the restaurant lighting was quite poor. Her reaction really stayed with me, and I had programmed one of the memory recalls to essentially function as an auto mode for when I hand the camera off to someone else to photograph me, and I just remember this interaction. Now, so if you have kids or interact with kids or are a kid, there seems to be one truth, and that is kids love bubbles. You'll get the best bubble shots with this camera, in my opinion. You can do a similar technique with paper planes or whatever else your kids might throw, but the Ricoh can take action shots of young kids quite well, in my opinion. Okay, so this is another shot that I probably could recreate with an iPhone, but it'd be a lot more work to get the settings right, and just having that extra control of the Ricoh just made this a lot easier. Again, my dog's expression is so cute, and he's got a shy smile in this photo again. Now, he's a tiny dog, but seems to really fill up the frame in this photo, though I did do some cropping in the Photos app. I accomplished this particular photo with the Ricoh GR III using a manual focus at 30 centimeters and then just shooting it upwards towards my dog's face, towards my son. It's one of my favorite photos, even though it kind of looks like my son is crying when he was actually just rubbing his eyes. But the star of this photo is my dog. I know I have thousands of photos at this point, and there's no point in sharing them all. These are my thoughts on the Ricoh GR as a dad or mom or a family camera, and why I ended up rebuying one in 2025, even though the GR4 has been announced. And apologies if this one was a bit long-winded, but hopefully you found it useful. If you're interested in more videos like this or more analysis, maybe give me a sub and I'll know how to orient my channel. Hope you all have a good day, and I'm back to Tech Dad life. Until next time, friends. Bye.